Well, continuing our stories out of the book of Judges, and we come to Samson, maybe the most popular judge with children at least, and some older children. It's now been about 300 years since Joshua died, and we come to Samson. Like several other stories in the Bible, this story begins with a couple who had no children. An angel appeared to Manoah's wife. "You are going to have a son. Make sure you do not drink any fermented drinks or eat anything that is unclean. Never allow your son to have his hair cut, because he will be dedicated to God even before he is born. Your son will deliver Israel from the Philistines." The woman went to her husband and told him what had happened. "I do not know the angel's name or where he came from." She's not named in the Bible, but Jewish records give her the name of Zlalponeth. Her husband responded, "God, please send your messenger again so he can tell us how to raise our son." The angel appeared to Zlalponeth again, but Manoah was out in the field. She rushed out, "Husband, husband, the angel is here again." Manoah immediately returned with his wife. "Are you the one who talked to my wife?" "I am." "How are we to raise our son?" "Your wife must do everything I've already told her." "Will you please stay a while we prepare a young goat for you?" "I will wait, but I will not eat the goat. Offer it as a burnt offering to God." Now Manoah still did not understand the man was actually an angel from God. Manoah says, "What is your name? We would like to honor you when our son is born." "Why do you ask for my name? You could not understand it even if I told it to you." Well, Manoah took a young goat and some grain, made a sacrifice to God on a rock right there. Then with Manoah and Zlalponeth watching, the flame blazed up high, and the angel ascended in the flame. Amazing, both of them. Seeing this, Manoah and Zlalponeth fell with their faces on the ground. He said, "We are going to die because we have seen God." His wife said, "If God wanted us dead, he would not have accepted our offering, and he would not have told us these things." Zlalponeth gave birth to a boy, and they named him Samson. He grew, and God blessed him. God's Spirit began to make himself felt by Samson. One day, Samson went to his parents. "Father, Mother, I saw a young Philistine woman in Timnah, and I want her for my wife." Manoah said, "Can't you find a woman from our relatives, or at least an Israelite? Why do you want a Philistine?" "She is the one I want." Now, his parents didn't have a clue that God was urging Samson to desire the Philistine because he wanted Samson to confront the Philistines. They were ruling Israel. So as Samson and his parents went to Timnath, a lion came out to attack Samson while he was alone. God's Spirit empowered Samson. He tore the lion apart with his bare hands, just as if it was a young goat. He didn't tell his parents about the lion. Samson went and talked to the young Philistine woman, and he liked her. At a later date, Samson returned to Timnah to marry this woman. His parents went with him, and on their way there, Samson looked off the side of the road where he had killed the lion. The lion's carcass had a swarm of bees with honey. He scooped out the honey with his hands and ate it as he walked along. When he caught up with his parents, he gave them some of the honey, but he didn't tell them where he had found the honey. So Manoah went to make arrangements for the marriage, and Samson hosted a feast, a custom there. The Philistines selected 30 men to be his escorts. Samson told the escorts, "Men, I have a riddle for you, and if you can give me the answer during the 7 days of the feast, I will give you 30 linen garments and 30 cloaks. If you can't answer the riddle, then you will give me the same amount. The escort said, okay, tell us your riddle. Samson said, out of the eater came something to eat. Out of the strong came something sweet. Well, 3 days passed, and they just couldn't figure out the answer to Samson's riddle. So the next day they went to his new wife, and they told her, find out the answer to your husband's riddle, or we will burn you and your father's entire family, killing everyone. Or did you invite us to your wedding feast just so your husband could steal from us? His wife, trying to learn the answer to his riddle, she said, oh, your riddle is so clever. What is the answer? Samson, I haven't even told my father and mother. Why should I give you the answer? His wife sobbing, no, you don't really love me. I think you hate me. This went on for the last 4 days of the wedding feast, when finally Samson gave in and told her the answer. She went and told the answer to her people. Just before the end of the 7th day, the men gave Samson the answer to his riddle. Samson said, you only got the answer from my wife. Samson felt the Spirit of God giving him power. He went to Ashkelon and killed 30 Philistines there and stripped their clothing to give to the men of Timnah. He left Timnah very angry. He even left his wife there with her father. Her father gave her to one of Samson's escorts from the wedding feast. Sometime later, that same year, Samson took a young goat and went to visit his wife. Her father said, no, you can't see her. I was so sure you hated her that I gave her to one of your escorts. Take her younger sister. She's even prettier. Samson said, now I have a reason to seek revenge. He went out, caught 300 foxes, tied them in pairs by tying their tails together. Then he attached a torch to each pair of tails and lit the torches, turning the foxes loose in the ripe wheat field. The foxes burned up the wheat fields and the vineyards and even the olive groves. 1,000 Philistine men armed themselves and camped in Judah. The people of Judah asked them, why? Why have you come? His army. The Philistines said, we have come to take Samson as our prisoner. We want revenge on him. Well, 3,000 men of Judah went to Samson, and they said, don't you realize the Philistines rule over us? What have you done to bring this on us? Samson said, I took revenge on them for what they'd done to me. They said, we're here to tie you up and give you to the Philistines. Samson said, well, as long as you promise not to kill me yourselves, I'll allow you to tie me up for them. And they agreed. So as the Philistines took Samson prisoner, the Spirit of God gave him strength, and the brand new ropes around his arms broke apart as if they were badly burned, freeing Samson. He picked up the jawbone of a donkey and killed 1,000 Philistines. This left Samson very thirsty. Samson said, God, am I now to die of thirst, or will the Philistines find me so weak that I will be unable to fight them off? God opened up a hollow place, and water came flowing out of it. Samson drank and felt his strength returning. One day, Samson went to Gaza, and he saw a prostitute there. He spent the night with her. The Philistines knew he was there, and they surrounded the prostitute's house and waited all night for Samson to come out. Their plan was to kill him as he came out in the morning. However, Samson came out in the middle of the night. He grabbed the city gate and tore it loose, including the posts holding it up. He carried it to the top of the hill outside the city. So later on, he fell in love with another Philistine woman named Delilah. The Philistine rulers went to Delilah, use your feminine powers to learn the secret of his remarkable strength so we can overpower him. If you do this, we will each give you 10 years' wages. That night, Delilah says, Samson, my darling, you are so strong that you are amazing. Why is that? Samson said, it's just the way I am. She said, is there anything that takes away your strength? Well, okay, I'll tell you. If someone ties me up with 7 new bowstrings that aren't dried out, I'll be unable to defend myself. Now, Delilah told the rulers that, and they brought her the bowstrings, and the next night she tied Samson, and the Philistines hid in a room nearby. All of a sudden, Delilah says, Samson, wake up, Samson. Some Philistines are here to attack you. Well, Samson woke up, and he barely felt the bowstrings as he flexed his arms, and the bowstrings snapped. Samson defended himself. Another night, Delilah says, oh, my lover, you made a fool of me by telling me the bowstrings would hold you. Why did you lie to me? Don't you trust me? Samson said, oh, I know. Okay. I'll tell you the truth. If you weave the 7 braids of my hair in the fabric on a loom and then pin it all together, I will lose my strength. So the next night, Delilah wove the braids of his hair into the fabric on her loom while he was sleeping. And she said, Samson, wake up, Samson. Some Philistines are here to attack you. Samson woke up and he barely felt the loom as he stood up and defended himself. Oh, for several nights, Delilah was pouting, saying things like, how can you say you love me? You lie to me all the time. You don't trust me, so how can I trust you? I think you need to just go away. I don't want to be around you anymore. Well, after several nights of that, Samson said, don't be like that. I know I lied to you. Okay, here's the honest truth. My hair has never been trimmed because I am a Nazarite, dedicated to God from my birth. If my head is shaven, then my strength would leave me, and I would be no stronger than any other man. Well, Delilah knew she'd finally heard the truth. She sent a message to the Philistine rulers. She told them to come back one last time because she was confident Samson had told her the truth. The Philistine rulers came with their silver wealth, and Delilah stroked Samson's head as he fell asleep in her lap. Once he was sleeping, she had someone shave off his 7 braids. And then she said, Samson, wake up, Samson. Some Philistines are here to attack you. Samson woke up and assumed he could defeat the men waiting for him, but his strength was gone. The Philistines took him prisoner, and they gouged out his eyes before taking him to Gaza. They put bronze shackles on him and had him pushing the wood bar attached to the grinding stone. Over time, the hair on his head grew back. Now a time came for the Philistines to offer a great sacrifice to the Philistine god Dagon. Around 3,000 men and women, all from their ruling families, gathered together to celebrate because their god had delivered Samson to them. While they were celebrating, they brought Samson out to perform for them. They had him wait along the roof support pillars around the edge of their temple. They had him in the center of those pillars so everyone could see him and mock him. Samson said to the servant that had brought him out there, would you please allow me to lean against the pillars? So the servant put Samson's hands against the pillars, and Samson prayed, God, please return my strength just one more time so that I can take revenge against the Philistines who'd gouged out my eyes. Samson put out his hands against the 2 central pillars. He said, God, now let me die with these Philistines. He pushed with all his strength, and the pillars collapsed to the side. The roof crashed down and killed all of the people in the temple. That day, Samson killed more Philistines than he had during the rest of his life. His father's whole family came and took his body home to bury him. This was the end of Samson's 20 years of leading Israel. Now we've got a few stories in Judges that I think were included to demonstrate what Israel was like during the times of the Judges. I titled this section, Wrong Lives. Micah lived in the hill country of Ephraim. His mother had 10 years' wages taken from her. Now he went and retrieved it for his mother, and he came home and said, "Mother, here's your silver." She said, "Oh, thank you very much, my son. I vow to consecrate this silver to God. Make an image and cover it with this silver. Then keep the silver-covered image yourself." Now Micah had a shrine in his house with his household gods. He made one of his sons a priest. In Micah's time, the people of Israel had no king, no leader. Each man did whatever he wanted. Well, his story continues with a young Levite leaving Bethlehem, his home, in order to find a new place to live, and he met Micah. Micah said, "Who are you and where are you going?" Man replied, "I'm a Levite from Bethlehem, and I'm searching for someplace I can be useful." Micah said, "Well, stay with me. I will give you a generous amount of silver each year, plus I will provide your food and clothes as well." Levite said, "That sounds like what I've been searching for. Thank you, I will stay with you." The young Levite stayed with Micah and became like one of Micah's sons. Micah made the Levite a priest in his home and said, "Now I know God will be good to me." Well, as the story continues, we learn about the tribe of Dan. They had not conquered any land where they could live. They sent 5 men out to find a place for them to settle. And these 5 men encountered Micah as they went through the hills of Ephraim. Micah said, "Who are you and where are you going?" They said, "We're from the tribe of Dan. Our tribe does not have a home, so we're searching for some place for our people to live." Micah said, "Well, you're welcome to spend the night in my house." And they said, "Thank you very much. We accept your great generosity graciously." So they spent the night there, and they heard the young Levite talking, and somebody recognized his voice. They said, "What are you doing so far from home?" And he said, "Well, this man has invited me into his home and made me his family's priest." And they said, "Ask God if we will be successful in our search for some place for our people to settle." And the Levite said, "God will give you success." So the Danites eventually ended up at Laish, where they found the peaceful Sidonians who had no allies. They returned to their people and said the land was great, plus the people would be easy to conquer. So 600 Danite men set out to conquer the Sidonians. They took their families with them. On their way, they also stopped at Micah's house. The 5 men that had been there before went into the house, and they took the silver-covered idol and the family gods. The young Levite challenged them. "What are you doing? You can't take the family gods." The Danite said, "Be quiet. Come with us. Wouldn't it be better to be a priest to an entire tribe than to remain here serving one family?" Levite said, "Yeah, that sounds good. I'll go with you." So he helped them carry out the idol and the family gods. Well, the next morning, Micah found his Levite and his gods were gone. He knew what had happened. He sent messengers to his neighbors to tell them what had happened and to ask them to join him in returning his family gods. It didn't take Micah and his neighbors long to catch the slower-moving Danites with their families. The Danites said, "Why did you bring all these men to attack us?" And Micah said, "You took my gods and my priest. What's wrong with you?" Danite said, "Leave us alone, or some of our men might get angry and attack you. They might kill you and your families." Well, Micah realized that there were too many Danites, so he just let them go. They continued with Micah's gods. And they attacked the Sidonians and burned their city, completely destroying it. And then they rebuilt the city. They renamed Laish to Dan. They set up Micah's idol as their own. They made Jonathan and his sons their priests. Jonathan was the son of Gershom, which was the son of Moses. They continued their idol worship until Assyria conquered the 10 northern tribes of Israel. During this time, God's house was in Shiloh. Now there was a Levite living in the hill country of Ephraim. He had taken a concubine from Bethlehem, but she was not faithful to him, and she went home to her parents in Bethlehem. After she'd been there for 4 months, the Levite went to persuade her to return to him. He took a servant with him, and they had 2 donkeys. The woman and her father welcomed the Levite. They persuaded him to stay with them, which he did for 3 days. On the 4th day, as the Levite was preparing to leave, the woman's father persuaded the Levite to stay for a meal, and after eating, he persuaded him to stay 1 more night. The next morning, her father again persuaded the Levite to stay and eat with him, but when he tried to persuade him to stay another night, the Levite refused. He left with his concubine and his servant, and when they neared Jerusalem, his servant suggested they stay there. But the Levite didn't want to stay there because it was still the home of the Jebusites. He only wanted to stay in a city of Israelites. So they kept going. When they reached Gibeah in the tribe of Benjamin's region, they stopped there. No one invited them to their home, so they laid down in the city square. An older man came home from working in his fields and saw them in the city square. He said, who are you? Where are you going? The Levite said, I live in the hill country of Ephraim, and I'm a Levite. We're returning home. We have food and straw for our donkeys, as well as food and wine for ourselves. We're content to spend the night here. The old man said, No, that will not do. I insist you will come home with me. The Levite said, thank you. We'll accept your generosity. So while they were relaxing after dinner, some of the wicked men of the city surrounded the house. They shouted, Send out the man who came to your house tonight. We want to have sex with him. The old man said, No, my friend, that is just wrong. He's my guest. Don't do this evil thing. I have a virgin daughter and his concubine. I'll bring them out to you, and you can use them however you please. But please, leave this man alone. They shouted, We want that man. Well, the Levite sent his concubine out. The men raped her and abused her all night. When dawn was nearing, they let her go. She returned to the house where her master was and laid in front of the door. When the Levite woke up, he opened the door and saw his concubine lying on the ground. He said, the Levite said, Get up. It's time for us to go. But she didn't answer. She didn't move because she was dead. He put her on his donkey and returned home. Upon arriving home, he cut his concubine into 12 parts and sent them all over Israel with the message about what had happened, calling for men to gather to punish the men who had done this. Those who received a part of the concubine in the message were shocked. They said, Nothing like this has happened since they left Egypt. This is horrible. We've got to do something. 400,000 men of Israel gathered. They asked the Levite to tell them how this happened. He explained everything. Then he asked them what they were going to do. They decided to cast lots and chose 10% of the men to gather provisions, and the rest all set out towards Gibeah. They sent messengers to everyone in the tribe of Benjamin, demanding they turn over the wicked men of Gibeah to them so they could kill them and purge the evil from Israel. The Benjamites refused, and they gathered at Gibeah to fight against the rest of Israel. They had more than 26,000, while the rest of Israel had 400,000. The Israelites asked God who should attack first, and God said Judah should attack first. The next morning, the Benjamites killed 22,000 Israelites. The Israelites wept and asked God if they should attack again, and God said yes. So the next morning, as the Israelites went toward Gibeah, the Benjamites came out and killed 18,000 Israelites. After that, the Israelites withdrew to Bethel and wept and fasted the rest of that day as they presented offerings to God. Phinehas, the son of Eleazar, the son of Aaron, was serving as the priest, and they asked again if they should attack. God said they should attack, and this time they would be victorious. So the Israelites set up an ambush. As they went toward Gibeah, the Benjamites came out again, and this time, as the Benjamites started their attack, they killed 30 men and became very confident. However, the Israelites began a retreat. As they left the area of Gibeah, the Israelites who were hidden all attacked. Other Israelites had remained hidden near Gibeah, and they attacked the city and set it on fire. The Benjamites knew they were beaten, and many fled. But the Israelites had them surrounded and easily killed them as they fled. 25,100 Benjamites were killed. The Israelites went through the region of Benjamin and killed everyone and every animal. They set fire to every town. Well, there were very few Benjamites remaining. And the Israelites took a vow to never allow a Benjamite to choose one of their daughters as his wife. The people of Bethel, which was in the region of Ephraim, but it's on the border with Benjamin, they all wept and asked why Israel should lose an entire tribe. They built an altar and presented their offering to God. They asked if any Israelites had not joined in their battle and their vow. They found out that Jabesh Gilead of the tribe of Manasseh had not responded. They sent 12,000 men with the instructions that they kill every man and woman that is not a virgin. They found 400 virgin women, which they brought back. They sent them to the remaining Benjamites, but there were not enough women. So they sent another message to the Benjamites that during the upcoming festival at Shiloh, they should hide in the vineyards, and when the young women of Shiloh came out to join the dancing, they should rush out and each take one young woman to be their wife. We will calm their fathers and brothers. We will tell them they didn't break their vow, but this needed to be done to save the tribe of Benjamin. After this happened, all of the Israelites returned to their homes. During this time, Israel had no king, and every man did whatever they wanted to do.